Oh,
Great.
hey Mochi.
How are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. Is Dan
Dan, you
here?
got to turn your camera back on.
And unmute yourself. Hi Mochi. I think she needs to go outside. Let me get this donate. Yes, hello. Hi.
Oop, and we lost Dan.
And he's gone. And he's gone.
And he's gone.
I'm gonna make you uh, a heavy admin, so you can pull Dan down if you need to in case I get distracted.
Okay, fair enough. I'll keep an eye out.
And
I don't even know how to do that, but I'll keep an eye out.
okay.
Oh, there he is.
TMR.
All right. Turn on your camera, Dan. Da, 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 da.
It's like getting a little burlesque up in here.
Yeah.
And real quick, just to read off these last couple donations that got in under the wire there. I see the TMR block Nurgle tag on them. Rocco, $5. Thank you so much. Tomb Dad showed up. Tomb King Christian, another $5. I'm really proud that Paul and I were wearing matching outfits. And $50 from Mr. Drez. Nagash Tramp Stamp win. I don't think it's gonna happen. I couldn't sell Molly on that. The getting her to sign off on the wrist tattoo was. It cost me a lot of like waifu karma. We'll put it that way.
I think it needed to be full chess piece, quite frankly. But
Ooh, yeah, the full chess piece. All right. I heard the notification happen. There it was. Meganosh, Twitch Prime sub. Thank you for the 6 months. All right, and I'll let you guys banter a little bit while I take care of this this donation raffle.
okay.
You're supposed to banter, Dan.
Yeah.
He's still muted. You have to.
Can you hear me? Right?
Here, how about now?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got
I
you.
can hear you.
Yeah,
All right.
Okay, cool. All right, coolio. All right. I can turn the sound up a little bit too. So.
Oh, and we're on. So it's time to crack the beer.
Ooh.
And crack the water.
Nice.
Ah.
Natarade. Saturdays are for the boys.
Yeah, it's true.
What's up, Nick Barry, for turning me on to this stuff? It's amazing. I'll sit here. I'll clean out a 30 rack in a weekend.
What is that? What is that?
So it's Natural Lights Natter Days, which is strawberry lemonade and beer, and it's amazing.
Oh, the natty lights? Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Getting some sort of
Natterade, baby.
Strawberry lemonade and beer. Okay.
It's so good.
Cindy just made a wonderful looking face when you said that.
It's so good.
Yeah. Oh my god. That's hilarious.
Alright. Rolling ones.
24. Man,
Yeah,
man,
so Matt,
man.
what do you want to talk about? We're here for another hour and 54 minutes. I've been in chat most of the day. I took a nap during the third block so I could be awake for this one.
It's not close to your bedtime.
I know it's not, but I woke up super early because I was super excited. So I needed to make sure that my bedtime cycle wasn't going to get thrown off.
That's great stuff.
Real quick. Well, why don't you start by telling people what the prize is for this block, and maybe mention, what the prize is.
Oh,
you know what it is.
The prize for this block is one entry to Midwest Meltdown and one competition level model painted by the Mr. Andrew Yells in chat. So I believe it's a dwarf.
Yeah, it's the Akuma dwarf. Looks like it's straight out of Street Fighter.
That's great.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic.
That's funny.
So, yeah, so those are the prizes here. Obviously, the big prize for the weekend is the 2,900 points of OTR Bone Reapers that Dan and I both contributed towards. So, as long as you donate $5 during this block, you're entered to win the Midwest Meltdown entry and the dwarf. And as long as you donate at least $25 over the course of the entire stream, you are eligible for the OTR prizes. So make sure in your specific donations that you're selecting the prize for the block. But as long as you have the $25 in, you're automatically eligible for the grand prize.
Yep.
Well said.
Yeah.
The link in here.
So I want to just say how that kind of came about was, as a lot of you know, I had like this mystery army thing going, and I ended up choosing Bone Reapers, and I bought a whole crap pot of stuff. And I built all the murder ponies. I built Arkin, getting ready for Adepticon, which never happened. But at the end, I still hadn't really committed to building these guys. I just hadn't, because other things came out. Siege came out, and there's all kinds of other stuff. So I had this box half full of stuff that was still in boxes. Like I had a box full of half a dozen boxes. And I found out from Brendan that this was happening, Mephisto, and it was like, well, hey, I'll just give this stuff to you. And he was like, hey, why don't we go in and finish this thing out and, kind of make a resource donation to make it a whole army. And so that's where we ended up with this. And we're really, really happy to have done it.
Yeah.
Really glad we had the opportunity to be part of this. So.
Yeah. Hopefully I'm not putting words in your mouth, Dan, but this is something that's near and dear to my heart. So it's really easy to be able to put that money towards it. And prizes.
Mephisto, you and I had conversation over lunch about this, and we both, I think all three of us have some kind of vested interest in this particular, issue that you're supporting and organization. So it's amazing. And from what I hear, it's ballpark, out of the ballpark so far, and it's just wonderful. That's amazing to hear. But I'm not surprised, because this community's like that, and they just are. Yeah. I know you've got to be just absolutely thrilled. That's an understatement, I'm sure. But it's just great that we've responded this way, and I'm just so proud of everybody, and I'm so glad that everybody could do this.
I knew the community had the capacity for this. Like was being mentioned kind of earlier on, is like in the Midwest we have charity raffle and a bar, right? Every tournament have those. So the capacity is there. I just didn't realize the reach and the reception was there, if that makes sense. Like if this was a tournament, I would expect it at a tournament, but just like some silly 27-hour guy shaves his goatee off and gets hit in the face with a pie. That's the part that's kind of flooring me. I do have the winner here. It is Ross Polly.
Oh, nice.
So that is the Nurgle Ross Polly. So congratulations.
That's great.
Nurgle, write that down. Make sure I've got it. Super perfect. All right, so of course we're on to a new block, new donations. You get the Andrew Yells piece. It looks pretty awesome. If Andrew's here in chat, he can go ahead and maybe plug his Twitter where he's got photos of it. And I'm gonna pull up the correct feed now so I can watch the donations come in. Boom, perfect. All right. Oh wow, they're already popping off. Oh my.
Well, the thing, Meph, that I don't think you've given enough credit to is how many people have been on for the length of this so far. It's been hovering around 90 people from the beginning, and for 3 hours it was over 100. That's that's just excellent. So hopefully more people are being exposed to your content, and we'll be back more in the future for more of the stuff you're doing.
Ain't about
for sure.
Yeah, this isn't about me. Like if you never watch the show again, but you gave to Mental Health America, we consider that a win. Like,
Sure.
I'm not shy about my opinions. So if we just look back, theoretically, I can just like tag this for looking back 12 minutes, and then I will have the correct donations. Hey, look at me! I'm figuring things out.
Uh-oh. Who's this?
Yeah.
Hello, Chuck.
Uh-oh.
Hello.
No. I read the donations first. Not type.
All right. Donations.
Gonna
Do your
get-
donation. I'm gonna enjoy my nice Wisconsin beverage here.
Oh.
Hey.
Yeah. There we go.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. So, Aaron Sutton, thank you so much. Winner's Circle says, if I bought a good I bought a good army. If you wanted to win, you should have bought a good army as well. Okay. W. Soren, this time I need you to know that Slanesh is the Lord and Master we all need. Thank you so much for that, Soren. I hope you're doing well with the new sort of life situation there. Dr. True again. Sleeves aren't prisons. Prove me wrong. Ross Polly,
Disagree.
Ross Polly says, happy anniversary of that time Dan beat me in a DOK mirror match at Midwest Meltdown.
Oh, yes. Awesome. That was my third game, I think. Yeah.
Bryce says Pepsi milk or we riot. Don't worry, you'll get your Pepsi milk, chat gang. Right after I do whatever horrible torture is Chuck's here for.
Oh, that's great.
Ty's,
That's great.
Ty says, on behalf of Landon, I think, my son, 8 years old, Landon, wants to chip in what he had left from the Tooth Fairy after little man had 3 teeth extracted on Thursday. And we often talk about how we're feeling and the importance of knowing how your brain is doing.
That's great. That's so funny.
Oh, thank you, Landon. Oh, as an unbiased ambassador and host of this event, I hope you win, Landon. G-Dad donates $5. Brendan Meldick $5. Still game in the system. I love it. And then
so
Nick McKenna says, I hope this helps people improve their mental health. Thanks for doing this. You're welcome, and thank you for the $20.
That's great.
I'm all yours, Chuck. Do your worst.
Do you know what lunges are?
I do.
Is that where you do the like huh with the? Am I looking up on YouTube?
Well, no, just look that up for the next round, because this round what I want 25 sit-ups or crunches, whatever you prefer, and I want you to aim for a minute plank. If you fail the minute, that's fine, but I want you to go push for a minute.
That's really.
How do I plank? Like just.
You take your arms. You're just on the ground.
And toes, right?
Yep.
It's like you're doing a push-up. You stay straight like you're doing a push-up, and then just lean on your elbows.
Okay.
Elbows or hands, whatever you want. Yep.
Okay. All right. So 20 crunches.
20 crunches. And then a minute plank.
Killing me. Who agreed to this?
You did. Specifically you. You gave him the power to jump in here.
Oh,
He did. He can take it away at any time.
And the dog is
I can't
no
wait till he gets to the plank.
You can't use him as an excuse. You got to get this done. Unless he jumps on top of you.
For
That'd be
the
even
plank.
better.
Once the plank happens and we see time stop.
Y'all trying to kill this man? Nah, come on. Look, this ain't nothing.
That's one.
We'll give him the crunches. It's,
Yeah.
the plank is what I want to see. Yeah.
Get him, Tucker.
That's hilarious.
He's rocketing. Like he's going full tilt on all of them.
Yeah, he's up there.
Keep going.
Minute,
Keep going.
You got a plank.
Oh, get that butt down.
What is that, man?
Yeah.
A little lower.
Keep that core tight.
I'm not keeping track of the time. I hope somebody is.
I'm not.
Yeah,
I have no intention of it. It's like my old coach was like, I don't know,
No.
2 seconds, 4 seconds.
I got it. He's about a quarter of the way through.
It's always better than
Quarter of the, yeah. Oh,
You do
God.
plank time stops. Boy, oh
It would
boy.
be great if
Right?
the dog jumped on his back. That would just be hilarious.
Oh, I see him starting. He's starting to shake a little bit. It's hitting him. Keep,
Yeah, that's how you
keep
know it's
holding him, man.
Keep that butt down. Keep that butt down, man.
Yep. Almost there.
Man, sets don't count till it starts hurting.
Yep.
That's true.
Keep it going.
30.
Almost there. Almost there. Yep. Now squeeze real tight in these last few seconds here.
2, 3, 4, 5,
Hold on.
6.
All right, you're done. You're done. You're done. Yep. Now that was a minute. You hit a minute.
Nicely done, man. Nicely done.
That was a long
Yeah,
minute, you
bravo.
guys.
It is.
He reset
You're
the.
lucky that Chuck was in charge and not me.
I started counting, and then you're like, "Who's counting?" And he's like,
I was counting it. I was counting a narrative play. So.
"Oh, was
sorry.
that what you were counting in there?"
Oh, yeah.
I need a minute here. Whew. And Mochi's, of course, ganking me. You see that? Like, sit up, crunch us on hard mode. Like, Mochi just like, yeah, I see you.
Playtime.
All right. I have to go grab the fixins for Pepsi milk and take her outside real quick.
God.
Oh no.
So,
That's funny.
Pepsi milk's gonna happen. That's
Pepsi,
the real.
Pepsi, you can stick around for the Pepsi milk if you'd like. And chat
I don't know
gang,
if I want to.
some of y'all have known about this for a while. If you have Pepsi milk at home, the
Pepsi milk. That is too much.
feel free. I will be back in a few minutes. Go ahead and talk about what Chuck. If you want to hang out, talk about whatever
Yeah, I'll
you
hang
all
out.
want. Yeah. I'll be right back.
Get to hang out with some of my favorite podcasters.
Chuck, what podcast are you from? I don't know. I'm just asking.
I do the Strength Hammer podcast, but usually I'm just an annoying person online. That's mostly what I do.
Okay. All right. Awesome. That's great. That's funny.
But yeah, I'm excited. Like getting the finishing touches on this Daughters of Cain table I built today, watching all of this.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
Holy crap! This day's been good for hobby for me.
Good. It has not been good for my hobby. I've been moderating with Frank all day.
Oh well, that's hobby. It counts. This is hobby related.
Money
This is
count.
giving me an excuse to hobby, so this is great. As I dig through my
There you go.
sprues. Almost done.
Oh, for those of us that
You
don't know,
whenever
you can find Dan and I on the Cubic Shenanigans podcast.
Yes, yes.
Always beyond brand.
Yes, yes. yes.
Oh, yeah.
Chuck.
it's nuts. It's a great podcast. I do like it.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
And I have to say, I was
Yeah.
worried because the beer I put in this Wisco glass, it was Yingling Light, so it's a light beer that you guys can't even get over there. But then I saw what you're drinking. I'm like, well, I guess I'm okay.
Yeah, you're fine.
Now I'll show you what I'm drinking, and you'll feel even better. It's water. That's it. So,
No, stay hydrated.
but it's in an Adepticon glass, so that's good.
There
you
Heck
go.
yeah.
Yingling, the oldest beer in the United States.
Yeah, I'm very lucky that it's in my area. It's delicious.
Yeah.
Whenever we used to
Also-
go to Ohio State as the gymnastics team, we would load up somebody's car with cases of it.
Oh yeah.
Good times.
It was a favorite in Annapolis, I can tell you that. We drank a lot of it. So
I was still shocked because that's like Yingling is like the baseline beer when it's
Mhm.
over here. Like that's your standard like simple beer. Remember going to Adepticon a couple years ago, and Dan and Wayne from Heelan Hammer
yeah,
just gave them some, and they're just like, "This is the best lager I've ever had." I'm like, "Really?"
Nice.
Wow.
It's good.
Like when they brought it, like I'd bring them some. But I'm just like, I'm glad you guys like it, but this is like this is base. It's just like This
I
is just
started
tier
the day
1.
with. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
it's where I finish the night because I don't care anymore. Or were you with us in that super secret Adepticon meeting where warm Yinglings were handed around the room?
I think those were my Yinglings.
Were those your Yinglings?
That was because I always bring Yingling to Adepticon, so they were probably my Yinglings, and I probably didn't have them in the fridge like an idiot.
Oh, they were so
I
warm.
I was raised by my dad, like growing up being like in like little league baseball, and there's one time I remember distinctly, and like I was probably 9 or 10. He filled up my water jug because it was a doubleheader. And I was like, "Hey, Dad, the water's warm," and he's like, "Is it wet?" I'm like, "Yeah, it is." So literally, like, I will drink warm beer. I'll drink warm. Like that temperature doesn't matter. Like
Oh
that
gosh.
that set like
That's
such a weird
funny.
level on me. Like, is it? Oh, this isn't cold. Is it wet? Yeah. Okay, then we're good. Like, I don't know. That's been in me forever. Like this one throwaway line that my dad probably doesn't remember saying.
Well, you'd be
I
happy
wouldn't
going to England or Ireland, man. They serve it warm over there. They love it.
It's because they don't have fridges
Yeah,
in England. They don't have space.
I enjoyed. I got to go over there a couple years ago. I enjoyed their warmer beer, but what I wouldn't enjoy is warm Pepsi milk. That would be bad.
Yeah, no, that's a nightmare.
See, Pepsi
Oh,
is
yeah.
supposed to be served warm. Because
Well, you know, one of the weirdest things that ever happened, Cindy and I went to Ireland, and we were in this little town out in the middle of nowhere, and we were in the pub, and the guy opened the refrigerator behind the bar. It was full of Miller. We're like, what? What? Where did that come from? And then we started having this conversation. Yeah, we're from where that stuff is made. And it was awesome. But talking about connections in the middle of nowhere, it was great.
Pepsi is supposed to be served
That's
cold
fun.
for why?
So Pepsi's supposed to be served warm because it's originally supposed to be served for the European market who did not have fridges, but it's supposed to replicate the taste of Coca-Cola, which is why cold Pepsi tastes so fucking weird. This is wrong.
I think.
But speaking of weird drinking stories, when I was in Ireland a couple years ago, I learned that a very popular beverage is Coors on Ice.
Where?
Yes, in Ireland, they crack the Coors bottle. You've got a cup of ice, and they pour the Coors over ice.
That's crazy.
It was so weird.
Pan turns blue when it's cold, though.
Let's see. What do we got? Milk first. Take it from the unknowable. All right. So we got.
All right, I'm gonna
catch
flip
back.
out. I'll see you. Gonna enjoy the stream. I'll see you later, man.
All right, later. That wasn't foreboding
Good
at
seeing
all.
you, man. Good
Hey,
seeing
guys.
you.
Yep, nice seeing you guys.
Chuck has recorded his interruptions for when he sleeps because he sleeps like a normal human. Let's see. Who won the Nurgle? I mentioned that. Timer reset. Butt down. Back straight. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your support. Meth is broken. Yep, they broke the meth. That happened. Y'all, I'm worried about Meth. At some point, Chuck has to sleep, and then Meth can recover. Wash it all down with some refreshing Pepsi milk. A moment on the Pepsi milk. Molly forgot to grab the Pepsi when she was at the grocery store just now. Has the Chuck torture been happening all day? Yeah, since Block 2. Feel that tum-tum. Yeah, it was burning. Yep, he jumps on early. Chuck has recorded his interruptions. Yep, exercises helps your mental health too. It's true. Like one of the first things when you're caught in a funk is you should do something physical. Go for a walk. When you're feeling that black tar come back through your marrows, go for a walk. Pouring it now. So what is the technique for Pepsi milk? I forget. It's a 1-to-1. It is a 1-to-1. Once you drink it though, you will know the unknown, and I don't know that anyone's ready for that.
No. When you said that the first time, I was like, I'm going to be anxious to hear everybody else's report, but I am not interested in Pepsi milk in the least. That just no.
It's a dumb inside joke that got out of hand, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Everything I do is a dumb inside joke that gets out of hand.
That's hilarious.
Here we are
with with thousands of dollars raised for Mental Health America. So who's been living their life wrong?
Yeah.
What up? What do you mean?
Cherry Pepsi?
No.
Cherry Pepsi.
No.
What is it?
They're trying to ruin the very specific formula for me growing eyes on the inside of my skull.
What are we trying to ruin it with? Dr. Pepper, Coca-Cola?
Regular Pepsi. It's got to be regular.
Oh.
It's so bad for your wife.
Oh, no, don't feel bad for her. Did you see her hit me with that pie? It might as well have been a fist.
I'm so sorry, Molly.
That's pretty good.
Where are we getting this no fridges crap from? I'm just joking with you. I'm just joking with you, Goose. Are those what? Yes, those are his army cases. That's what the future looks like for this room.
Fantastic.
Yeah, those are awards and armies.
No. The trophies don't fit on top anymore, except for the dragons. Not enough space. The trophies are over there.
Oh, okay, all right.
Not enough room for them all. Okay, Meph will get a new body after this, just like Catacross. That's the plan. Like, I can't have like my favorite army feature Catacross and then like have the dad bod I have. He is perfection. That you like. They say when you're trying to. This is actually a Chuck Moore thing. When you're like trying to get fit, get in shape, surround yourself with things that you want to look like. Schwarzenegger did this. So I got to put like Catacross pictures everywhere and Bruce.
So you'll look like Catacross.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
How about Crystal Pepsi? Ooh, Crystal Pepsi. That's some deep cuts.
I have to get a DeLorean and go back.
Yeah, brace for enlightenment. Pepsi.
Well, of course it's gonna be Pepsi.
Pepsi.
Diet is permissible.
Diet is delicious.
I prefer no aspartame, please.
I prefer
All right, and that's why I'm surrounded by potatoes. Surround yourself with hot dudes. That's right. Surround yourself with hot dudes.
Good.
Almost done with my Pepsi milk. He's actually drinking it. Chaos Spawn, thank you so much for the biddies. Says can't wait to see the Pepsi milk.
So cherry Pepsi?
Why is cherry Pepsi? No. Okay.
Cherry
Thank you.
Pepsi.
Why is the cherry?
Wow, what knowledge would you gain via cherry Pepsi?
I don't know. It might go wrong, and then you're just like faces backwards.
Oh, Frank says cherry's good enough.
Too late. Too late. All right. So, obviously our cause, Mental Health America, the I Don't Mind campaign. That's hashtag I Don't Mind, all capital letters. You're telling people when you use that hashtag that I don't mind that you are open and vocal about your mental health. And then, of course, the hashtag for this event, if you want to tell your friends to get in here and donate tons of money for an awesome one-of-a-kind model and a chance to win this sweet OBR army sitting behind me, hashtag Rantathon 2020 would be how you do that. All right. So let's talk, gents. Like, oh, man. Thank you, first of all, for being on. Thank you for the donation. It's amazing the way this thing all came together, and I'm just going to be reflecting on this for months, like how this even happened. So cheers to you all. It's not Pepsi milk yet. Mr. Meth, is there a drawing every block?
There is a drawing every block. Every 2 hours.
Every 2 hours.
They're
Awesome.
announced at the end of the 2-hour blocks.
Fear the old Pepsi, Mephisto. Buy the old Pepsi. we are made. I love the attempt at a Bloodborne reference there. Thank you, Sigil. Thank you so.
Is that some reference to like New Coke? Remember when that debacle happened? Oh God.
I don't think I made enough.
Oh man.
The old Pepsi. Yeah. So, I guess you've. I mean, you're professionals with a podcast. You want to pick a topic? I could go. No.
No, I'm fine with that. Whatever you'd like to talk about, with the podcast or something else. I mean, I'm good. I'm down with that.
Okay. I got a question for you, Dan.
Yes,
how
sir.
How about 40K?
What about 40K? That's all good. What would you like to talk about?
No, like you've got to be pumped, man. Like so if you're not familiar with the Cubic Shenanigans podcast, Dan and Brendan have a show. It is a Warhammer show. They do some 40K. They do some AOS and
Mostly AOS, yeah,
yeah,
mostly AOS.
mostly AOS. But it's like one of the only 40K podcasts I'm capable of listening to because Dan gets so excited about it. I'm like, I feel like I should be excited. Like, I have no idea what he's saying, but I feel like I should be excited because he's excited.
Yeah, it's great stuff. Whenever you get new stuff, and the nice thing for me is I was a 40K fan through the war, long before I really played the game. And so when I see new everybody's all into the models. There's these new units. The Necron models are amazing. It's awesome, and they are. But it's now we're continuing the story, and that's the best part to me. Is it's not just static where it's just there. You've added. This is the new Horus Heresy in a way, in terms of continuing the story. You had the Heresy, you had 40K that kind of bridged that, and now you've got Indomitus, you've got post Robute Gilliman coming back, and that's what this is. And so this is kind of opening a door to a whole new timeline in 40K, and that's to me what's the most exciting. In fact, I just went out and bought the book today. I bought Indomitus, although it's Brendan. I was telling Brendan before the show. There's the box, yeah, but I bought the book. I actually bought the book of Indomitus, which is the story behind the box.
Okay. Is this a Black Library book, or is it more like a campaign?
Yeah, it's Black Library, written by Gav Thorpe, who's one of the best, in my opinion, he's one of the best Black Library writers. But the box as well. What's funny is I went to the store to get the book, and with all the stuff that's been talked about with the boxes and all the stuff that's gone on, and you can get boxes, you can't. They still had like half a dozen boxes left in the store after the rush this morning. And it was like, what? You have that many? He's like, oh, yeah, I got them sitting here. It's like, okay. Yeah, so if anybody needs boxes, go down to the GW store down in Greenfield. He's still got some.
Yeah, I like what Nasha's saying here. Those new Sword and Shield Space Stormcast are basically like normal Stormcast. I like that.
Oh, man.
That's my favorite.
They are great. I'm really excited about the Outriders. And as you know, listening to me in the show.
See what I said? I mentioned 40K.
And I'm always into fast armies. Like what did I build out of all of the OBR stuff I had? What did I build first? I built the ponies, built the murder ponies.
Oh, they're sweet.
I built Arkin. So I would love to have an army, not a whole army, but a huge brick of these new Outriders, because they're just so amazing. Not just in the way they look, but the way they're going to play, and that's really cool to me. And I've already got a Primaris. I got an Ultramarines army already, and it's already been converted. Except I think I have one unit that's not Primaris. I got one of the old, the Mark I Space Marines, as it were. But other than that, I'm ready to roll.
All right.
So, and I'm excited about the Crusade piece of this too.
So I'm really worried that this is going to cut into your time with the Superior game, which is Age of Sigmar.
No. Now, rest assured, my friend, and Brendan would tell you, I have made a commitment, and I'm so far keeping to it that I am going to get 10 to 12 games with my new Nighthawk army before we go to Siege World. And believe me, it's a good thing. After just a few games, it's just, I know so much more about using this army. If I had gone down there cold, it would have been a nightmare. A Nighthawk nightmare, as it were. But I'm committed to AOS. In fact, if you notice what's sitting on my table here, hello, Blade Geist Revenant time. They're Blade Geist Revenants. So,
right on.
Yeah,
I like that you. So
I can, even at my age, I can multitask. All right.
All right.
I can AOS and I can 40K.
All right.
So,
Right on.
You started this.
I did. I didn't know what. I knew I was poking the bear, and I'm like, maybe not this time. Maybe not this time.
That's funny. That's funny, man. That's great.
Yeah. Hey, how's it going, Doom and Darkness? Yeah. You go to bed, you wake up. I'm here. That's me. I exist. What do we got here? It feels like they're speaking a different language. It does, doesn't it? At one point, it was just like
God.
No, the tattoo is was the stretch goal at 15. They
Well gone and past that.
yeah, they like the tattoo happened. Yeah, we're well past it. It was 1500. Yeah.
Next
Yeah.
up is Bryce builds a Nagash and Mephisto paints it.
Yeah, and then if
There
you
you
get
go.
if you get past that, and it'll actually be painted well because Bryce will paint it. I assume you
Yeah.
consulted with Bryce before this. You didn't just like.
Yes.
Okay.
We got his agreement before it was put to review.
All right.
That's
So 2 tattoos. No, it's just the one.
no, you need to catch up, man. Come on, you need to catch up. Dude.
I do.
Here, you need
No.
to catch up.
It maybe. Not this year anyway. At that point, like around the time you're looking at like a second tattoo, it's like I should just give that money back into the charity, right? Like, I mean, I'm happy it drew everybody out and got everybody united to see me, in real pain for real. It was destroyed by the charitable nature of the best community ever. It's true. No, I guess let's talk about maybe what the tournament scene looks like when we return. Seeing that you're are you YMCAing there, Brett?
Yeah. I'm trying to build the space in between.
a Nagash chess piece. Okay, if I get swole because Chuck Moore is like reshaping my body to be Catacross, I'll get a chest hat.
Oh.
But I am not
Nice.
swole.
Nice.
Like not swole. No, I mean there'll be like there'll be like a Twitter. It'll be a Twitter vid, just like when it happens. Obviously, I can't bring my setup in there, so Molly will just hold the camera and watch me suffer, and then that'll just be like live on Twitter or it'll show up on YouTube. So you will get to see the fruits of your labor, chat gang.
So the tournament scene after.
Yeah. So
Pandemic.
because I think we got like a good slice of like amongst us the sort of like what we go to the tournament scene for, and obviously you're the double dragon here. You've got both your victory, your back-to-back victories of Dragonfall. It should have been the three-peat this year, I think, right? You're gonna go for the three-peat.
Yeah, if they're gonna have it, I'll defend it.
Yeah, they actually have a
Survey out.
survey out about moving it and still running and stuff like that. So,
That's good.
come on now. Giants rule the world. That's what it looks like. We come out and then it's just Giants winning.
So when you say like the games, you mean like what events look like, or what the meta is going to look like?
I was actually thinking more like the field whichever one, man.
The venue? Is it the venue you're thinking about? What is it like going to...
Well, the Dragonfall like has their survey is like more of a resort style as opposed to like a hotel, right? So that's their direction. So I think the venues are going to they're not going to be different, are they? Are we going to space our tables out more?
We're going to find out in 4 weeks, Brendan? I mean, this could be a template, don't you think, for what Siege World?
Yeah. So Siege World is in full compliance with the state of Illinois requirements of maximum of 50 people per room, everybody 6 feet apart, mask required, temperature checks, hand sanitizer available to everybody. So that's going to be a pretty different experience, but at the end of it, the implication is larger, right? So something like this, where everybody has this collective shared experience, leaves a societal scar. So in the same way that families that were directly impacted by the 2008 housing bubble in the United States, Americans living in New York, 9/11, and then the United States at large, and you can keep tracing these things further back. The difference is that for many people, this is the first large scale event where everybody was impacted. There's not a person realistically who can say that they suffered no consequence of this. People's behavior at the end of this is going to be impacted in the same way that a lot of people's grandparents would shovel bread into into their purses at the end of dinner, even though everybody had a roof over their head and food to eat, and it wasn't going to be a problem. But that's something that they picked up from their societal scar. We as a society are going to be more conscious of space, are going to be more conscious. There are going to be some people that always wear masks for the rest of their lives. Like that's going to be a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to become more normal for people to say, hey, take a step back, not super into this big hugging thing. For me, this is great. This is exactly how I want people. I want them 6 feet away from me and leaving me alone. And so event organizers, some of them are going to, share that cognitive understanding. They're going to have tables more spaced out. Like we went to NashCon last year, and how just tight that room was. I think that's going to be an exceedingly rare situation, going forward. People are always going to be looking to make sure that they have just a little bit of room. Mm-hmm. And U.S. tournaments have always been rather spacious. It may be taken to that nth degree where you have all the space suddenly.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that'd be interesting, especially because what that could unlock for like battle plan deployments. We could see more like lengthwise battle plans if the norm becomes that little bit extra space, like where you're actually, instead of like these picnic rows of tables, you actually have space between them suddenly. I mean, obviously capacities shrink or demands on the TOs change, but the societal implications of this are bigger than Warhammer.
Significantly.
Who knows what venue prices look like after this, because all of those, that entire industry has their own changes that they have to cope with, right? And we just want to push our models around. I mean, it's for mental health. Like, it is good for your mental health. Maybe not in the big capital letters mental health, like as in disorders and stuff like that. But it is good to play games. I feel better when I have played games. Or at the very least, I've hit the pause button on some other stuff and I get to play games. I want that again. I was so happy to watch a stupid exhibition NBA game. I can't even. I had it on in my work truck that whole day. We
annihilated them. It was great.
The Bucks played the Spurs. It was amazing, and we had our bench destroying them too at the end. It was great. Like, we were 3 deep on our bench. So I think that's a. I mean, it's a question mark. To an extent, but I something this big doesn't happen with leaving an effect, and I think it goes beyond it. I mean, this is global. It is global.
Yes.
I do think seeing some people play in their gardens and stuff like that, I think that might become a regular staple now. Is like more garden play, more outdoor Warhammer, which I think is just a kind of a. You might take that as a positive. As like now we're gonna see some tournament space explored where it's like outdoors now, and what that could mean, and the silliness of it or the novelty of it even. I think there's some joy to be had there. I think there's some. I'm struggling to find a silver lining, but that's one of them. Is watching people play some outdoor Warhammer has been really pleasant for me. Like just seeing like some Twitter photos of like people playing Warhammer. I'm like, yes, you can't stop them. From like trying to be responsible, but also trying to play games. One thing I noticed in like Street Fighter tournament scene, like just talking about like this sort of what it looks like, and I think we can talk about the meta a little bit later. Street Fighter, right before we were willing to admit to COVID, was leading into like a big like fighter circuit essentially. They had already, because Street Fighter is it's a very J game, as a very Japanese game. J game is like a category, right? J game, J pop, like the masks being pretty ubiquitous at conventions was already kind of adopted because poor air quality, wearing masks in some of the big cities like Tokyo and in China and like Hong Kong and stuff like that. That was part of their culture already in some respects. Usually it's for air quality and stuff like that, but you're already seeing like the sort of stylized masks showing up in Street Fighter tournaments and stuff like that. I think that, like you said, there's gonna be people who wear masks the rest of their life. I can already see that transition being realistic, but also the idea of etiquette and what you do at a tournament. Um, moving away from like the traditional handshake or like hug. You see your friends hug, fine. But I mean, just like that cordial, like I've never met you before. Hey, handshake. Seeing like fist bumps was what we started seeing in Street Fighter, like very quickly.
Mhm.
And in that sort of week, that last big tournament, I don't remember what it was. Maybe Frank can help me out. They were elbow dabbing instead because they'd be sitting there, they'd be hunched, with their controllers in their lap, and then like they'd elbows instead. And that was right before the COVID because they were but they were already aware, and those last few tournaments were like down in capacity, and international travel was cut off, and it was right in that stage. But they still had we still hadn't like shut down states yet, and we still hadn't shut down stuff. It was just like the very early. Japan wasn't letting you fly into it like very early on. So those tournaments were significantly reduced into capacity, and we saw the elbow dabs. I think there's going to be some cultural changes. Maybe it's the fist bump instead of the handshake now. This is the thing that finally brings in the fist bump as the universal greeting. Where are we at? Outside tournaments would be dope.
Yeah, I think that'd be lots of fun.
Go Bucks! Damn right, go Bucks!
Get a couple of big giant white tents, and tables and chairs, and have a cookout and all kinds of stuff. I think it's awesome, and you could easily do it when you think about the space that's required. And that these the organizations, the businesses that bring out those huge tents and those kind of things, they would love that, and it might give you a lot more flexibility in terms of where your venue is. If it's outside,
right.
Maybe it isn't inside of a hotel with a huge ballroom or something like that. Maybe it's in a park, or maybe it's in private property somewhere. People have farms and they have other things like that. And there are people who Warhammer who do that. Maybe that's the kind of place you go, and then you stay down the street at the Holiday Inn Express or something, whatever it is.
Yeah, beer garden Warhammer.
oh man, it'd be awesome.
Yeah. No, I think that I mean this is something I talk about in gameplay, and something you guys have your own sort of like catchphrase. Work the problem, I think, is the Cubic Shenanigans slogan when it comes to this. But there's a puzzle. You solve the puzzle. Like we were exposed to a puzzle as a society, as a global pandemic, and like now we have to rethink situations. I like some positivity. It's not always like easy to find positive in a really, really wretched situation. Handshakes are stupid. Beer tent next to the tournament tent. There you go. there's a well. I mean that could also lower some costs of venue, right? Tents, a tent rental for like a rock concert, relatively cheap compared to what?
No, it is. I agree. I think it'd be much cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
It is currently 6:50 p.m. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stoicism teaches us that the obstacle is the way forward. Yeah, this block started at 6. So the meta. I have a take.
Okay.
Everyone's saying it's going to be a lot of croak. I think we're going to get the Wild West a little bit. Maybe not so much as I initially thought, because it seems like the recency bias has prevailed a lot of Age of Sigmar. We just have we tend to like focus on the new thing a lot. I think about like City of Sigmar and how like some of the builds in that book just flew under the radar because like a bunch of like more recent things had come out, problems to address. Petrifex Elite, Slaves to Darkness lagged a little bit behind, and then it was Tzeentch, and it's like we never looked back at some of these other builds, which is fine. That's neither here nor there. I think the recency bias, people are just like, okay, I already bought my box of LRL. I know I'm playing these guys. I planned on playing Seraphon since they were announced. I waited a long time for it to be announced. I'm going to play my Seraphon. I maybe it won't be as Wild West as I thought, but I do think people will be so excited just to play games again that they almost won't give a crap, and the notion of like a fixed meta is sort of like is novel at this point. Someone doing dishes?
That'd be Dan's house.
No, we're not doing dishes. We already ate dinner. Not us. Although everything is close here, what you see is what you get. This is my house, literally, almost.
Wow. Wow.
So, um, now again, as a mid-level player, I made the choice recently and publicly that I'm not going to chase the meta. I don't care. It's Nighthaunt's what I want to play, and I'm going to play it. And if they do great, that's great. If they don't, that's cool too. I just love playing them. I love building them. I love painting them, and it doesn't matter to me.
Well,
I'm just going to enjoy playing the game.
Well,
is
there you
the
go.
point.
There you go. There you go. I like where is it? Nuke Doctor here. Don't need to mention his accomplished credentials, but what meta? I played Sylvaneth today, and that's exactly it.
Yeah.
I do think that you're just playing the game, and I think that can be liberating because there are some fixed commodities in our game. This is very good. This is very bad. We know that stuff, but sometimes just playing the game and that pure giving yourself an excuse to lean into a Johnny combo that's not a spike and then trying to prove yourself with it. I think that's a lot of fun. That's where I want to be coming out of this out of our whenever our next tournament is that I get to. I'm a little bit more locked down than other folks. I know there's some events going on because Molly is higher risk. I'm not rolling that charge with
Sure.
if it comes up Snake Eyes, no thank you, not worth it for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But if you're comfortable, you're safe, you're doing your thing, I won't judge other folk for wanting to get back to the things that make you happy.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
It's normal.
Yeah, I avoided normal because hearing a new normal, we have a 199ride.com, whatever it is, the phone number, and he's always like, a new normal. He's got that radio commercial, and every time I hear it, it just, the commercial I'm talking about. We're all from Wisconsin. This guy apparently, his commercial apparently plays on lacrosse, and he's from Green Bay.
God.
Green Bay and Appleton, and his commercial. Because I've talked to some of my lacrosse friends, and they're like, "Oh, he plays over here. We hate him every time." It's a new normal. Come buy a car. Shut up. Stop. From a meta point of view, I worry about the proliferation of shooting, as I love AOS for the importance of movement, timing, and those charges. The amount of quality shooting lets people reach out and deal hurt without some of that. Not totally, but some. Well, theoretically, the thing is shooting armies still, with the exception of KO, which is what makes KO kind of an interesting fit in this meta, and they just got better. They got Fire Slayered a little bit. Is that they're the high armor shooting army, which makes a really good counterpoint to the traditional. If shooting sticks its neck out and doesn't execute, then it gets its head chopped off. Mm-hmm. That's usually the foil to an aggressive shooting army. Is that if the shooting doesn't pan out, they get smashed on the hit back, or they usually don't have enough coverage for something like against eels, which continue to be a proper litmus test for this game. I'm super impressed with eels as a. I love eels. Don't never nerf eels. Keep them. In fact, if they stop doing what they're doing right now, make them better.
Well, and you mentioned KO from my perspective again. It's people played KO because they could shoot the heck out of somebody and shoot them off the board. And then all those changes got made, and all of a sudden, KO was nothing like it was before. It just got totally nerfed, and everybody was like, especially Zach, his reaction when all those changes happened. And now all of a sudden they've been lifted out of the basement again. And when you rely on a thing to do something and the thing changes, then you get what you ask for, I mean, it's the same thing that happens in 40K where, everybody invested in 10 flyers. And that's all the people were playing was lists with 10 flyers in it. And then all of a sudden, they made it so flyers couldn't grab objectives. And then all those people and all those flyers are just sitting on shelves collecting dust.
This isn't even the flying isn't flying change in the FAQ.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know. Yeah, you guys have a better perspective than I do, but That's the way I see it sometimes with this. And if you just hang in there with whatever it is you play, you're going to have your ups and your downs, or maybe you'll just be in the middle all the time.
Yeah, that's where Vince was on earlier, and he basically said that same thing. He's like, the pendulum swings. Like, unless you're committed to that style of play where you're all like, where the fun is actually like solving the meta, bringing the new heat, rotating with it, building a great vault that you can always tap into when you need it. When the pendulum,
right there.
when the pendulum swings back towards something that fell out of fashion, like right, like that's a type of Warhammer. That's a lot of fun, man. But if you're like if that's not your type of fun, it's okay to ride that pendulum, baby. Woo! Right? Like find something you do. Find the thing you love and ride that around. I feel bad for you if your army if you job for just a whole year straight. I don't know how the fuck Heywoah stuck with BCR as long as he did.
Nah, that's the Get Good Army. Come on.
Yeah, it's the Get Good Army. Like through some of those downtimes, like he could not objectively win a game with 2 double turns against my LON army in that one time period. If I just played my army normally, even with the double, he couldn't win. He needed some insane dice, like Kyle minimum pants level of insane dice that one game. Where he could not fail a save and he couldn't miss a shot.
Hey, Brendan, what do you think about, like, you talked about the change in the meta. What do you think about how doing away with the Bone Reapers 3-up, how do you think that's going to affect how they're played, or do you think it's going to make any real difference?
Here we go.
Other than they're going to change, they're going to go and be something else rather than Petrifex, and that's it.
Okay, you're just going to have players be smarter. I mean, my list flips over to Praetorians right away.
Yeah.
And it's just as good as it ever was. I lose the Ren, but okay, it takes me another combat to get through your army. Fine. But it's gonna give people a reason to explore other options. But I think you're going to see a rise in Catacross lists.
It felt like Catacross was the way anyway. Like it really.
I agreed.
It felt like Catacross. This for me, it hurt Nagash the most of anything. Like it hit Nagash who to overcompensate, mind you, from the drawbacks of being a super top heavy elite single model kind of army. It's Nagash and 60 skeletons, which is a fair list, but anybody who plays the game at like a competitive clip knows that that has you see the Achilles heel in that army immediately. With redundant saves going away, with shooting being already Nagash's Achilles heel to begin with, like Ren 2 shooting, and it's just freaking everywhere now. That was the thing that killed him before. We're back to that thing now, just not just being one army that does it. It's 4 armies that do it. So now it's 4 armies that do it. You've got about 2 other armies that can just actually beat the crap out of him. And then you have the sort of general exploit in existence. He just isn't as desirable, and without that, the crutch or the overcompensation, or use whatever weighted language you want. But the +1 save was for Nagash for the most. That was what made him go from you're playing your pet unit to you're playing a viable build. And now he's kind of, I think he's busted back down to a pet unit, or get really creative and be really, really competent with your army. Which is it's an okay space to exist in. But the point is that he took the nerf the hardest in this whole thing, because he kind of got the meta nerf, he got the GHB nerf, and then he got the targeted nerf. So you got the dreaded triple nerf.
I mean, at least it's not the quadruple nerf that Slaanesh got.
The crazy thing is Slaanesh got the correct changes. I'm still they got done dirty. I'm this is... Remember when the euphemism was you got KO'd? Because, how over-nerfed KO got?
Yeah.
They got KO'd. But the pendulum swings, right? Look at where KO is. The butt of the joke before from an army that got over-nerfed was KO, and now they're kind of over-buffed. So that pendulum...
GHB 2022 is looking good for them.
that pendulum's going to keep swinging. And so if you want to chase and you want to be competitive, that's a lifestyle, you know? Like, I didn't choose the whack lifestyle, it chose me. Like, lean in, baby, go all in. I love, like, that's fun. That is its type of fun, and I won't, just like I'm not going to crap on the Neo. We had a huge Neo conversation before. I don't crap on Neo players. I don't crap on whack players. Like, the game is big enough. It's like, go watch Hamilton. At the end, when Burr is standing there, the world was wide enough for Hamilton and me. The world is wide enough for Neo and whack. And did you know you can be a whack Neo player? Did you know you could show up to a Neo event and only want to win?
And my narrative is winning.
And your narrative is winning?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Mega Boss Mike, how do I feel about Petrifex? Financially speaking, it was the best change.
That's great. That's good. I love that.
Uh,
I love that.
Well, and that's what ends up happening is what Hobby Bear just said in chat. That's the truth. Is Special K and Mortis Praetorians are the defensive build, and in the opposite world, Petrifex Elite are the offensive build. And that's what's kind of weird about this. It felt like the wrong lever got pulled, right? Like, that's the best description I've heard. Like, they walked over, there's 2 levels on the wall, and it's like the big heading up above it says Nerf Petrifex, and they have 2 levers, and it says the Rend and the Save, and they walked over and they pulled the Rend, and then the tape fell off, and it said the Save, you know, like... Nerf the offense, nerf the defense, and it's just like the button guy, you know, like...
Nice.
They were egregious in the definition of outrageous, as in, yeah, it was egregious is one of those words that shifted meaning in our common parlance, just like awful used to actually mean like full of awe, but it was used sarcastically. That's one of my favorite pieces of etymology, if you wish. We have words that have changed meaning because humans are sarcastic. Specifically, the British. That was the British's doing. It's awful. And they just changed it. Fac life. What is fac? I don't know what that means.
Fun at all costs.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah,
Right on.
yeah.
Yeah. My fun is winning. See, the whack player and the fac player, we're the same. Like, you're the same as me, and you just like point at each other. But my fun is winning. Slaanesh will be back on top when they get around to releasing Immortal Slaanesh faction swings and rounds about. Yeah, and that's the thing is like I think the especially with Chaos, that pendulum is like on the most obvious like axiom ever, which is the mortals are good, the demons are good, the mortals are good, the demons are good, and it just goes back and forth forever. Imagine.
It's also got like a third like hinge axis, so it's not just a straight across pendulum. It's just.
Like it's
got like a full swing to it.
Yeah, it's like doing an infinity loop. Like,
hitting the different gods, and it's just...
Yeah, fair enough.
You're left on degrees with everybody else.
Surely you mean Marauders.
Marauders.
So I'm just going to come out and admit it. It's 1 a.m. I've just taken a reasonably large swig from my paint water. Balthasar Gold. I appreciate you staying up till 1 a.m. with us.
Gotta win those prizes.
Yeah, gotta get that swag. Gotta get the loot. Wash your brushes in vodka. Problem solved. That's that Wisconsin ingenuity. Thank you, Ty. For charity. I do appreciate everyone who's watching abroad. Thank you so much for tuning in to my humble little corner of the internet. It's a great way to obliterate brushes. Only if you switch to those vegan brushes, right? Like they're resilient to the alcohol.
Vegan brushes.
It's a thing.
I believe you, man. Okay.
No.
How do you know? How do you tell the difference?
Taste.
Yeah, you gnaw on your brushes when you get frustrated.
You're joking, but I've never not put a brush in my mouth in my entire life. It's all like because the tip, Like I love my Games Workshop, the Citadel Water Cup. I love it.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
still, even though it's got the little grooves on the side for getting your point back, it still goes into the mouth every time. And it only really sucks most of the time. This is like the rat in the maze, or what is it? Was it a mouse? Where it's like it just kept hitting the button and getting the cheese even though it got shocked every single time. I'm like, that's me. Every time the paint is an immediate mistake, and I don't stop. Yeah, I gotta shave the goatee. That's gonna happen a little bit later because this is the Pepsi milk block. I'll do the.
Yeah, hopefully your Pepsi shows up.
I'm saying I'm gonna text Molly. Um, cocaine and food. So, what about Sons of Behemoth?
What about them?
What about them? What
Yeah, what about them?
expectations, hopes, dreams, hate, utter ambivalence?
Well, so we know it's 4 War Scrolls now. That is something we know at this point. And weirdly, there weren't any War Scroll battalions. But okay. Yeah, you want to talk about like an army that's balanced on a razor's edge in terms of like what it takes for it to be good versus what it takes for it to be bad. This is a game where models win you games, like just inherently. Having more models is always helpful. Boy, you're talking an army that like reasonably could have less than 13 models on a very consistent basis. They better have rules consummate to that model count to make them competitive, because otherwise.
Well, do we think they're gonna tear the page out of the coolest page out of the Mod Tribes book, which says you count as 2 or 10? Are they gonna do that, or would they do something else?
I think they have to. I think that has to be the floor, right? If it's not going to do that, it has to be something like if there's a giant there, first.
It's mine. It's mine's now. This is the
Yeah.
Michael Shea gentrification joke. It's mine's now. Like, like every giant is a white woman going into like Starbucks or whatever. It's a bit. Michael Che does it way better than me. But yeah, they're gonna have to have the it's mines now. Like they take the objective. They're like, if it's there first, it gets it until it's dead.
Yeah, I think that's the two. Like they either count as like a bazillion models, or they have it.
Mm-hmm. Well, kicking was confirmed, wasn't it? Like moving objectives. I thought that was confirmed. Maybe not.
Not to my knowledge. No.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, funny.
I love the idea of kicking objectives. By the way, like that's something I was musing over with Vince off air. Was about how like when's the last time we saw a wacky rule? Dark Prophecy, by the way, is the answer. The last time we saw like a kind of a wacky weird rule was Dark Prophecy. And for some context, Hand of Dust. I love Hand of Dust. Obviously, I love Hand of Dust. But I was talking about this, and Chuck, there's a Hag Queen ability that's similar where you hide the die and you do a D3 mortal wounds, and it's like we got talking about old skinks, the old like skink Starseer or whatever, where you hid the die and it had a value and your opponent guessed, and if they were wrong, you got that many rerolls or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's like wacky rules like that. Like you don't want them everywhere. They should never be everywhere. But just a little like you're the little the meme of the dude throwing the salt on. Yeah, you want to do that with those rules like that. It's been a while since we've had one. Dark Prophecy was the last time, and then they just like destroyed it with the FAQ. It was just like this is meaningless now. I'm like, I liked it the way before. It was weird, and you played poker with your opponent in like you had a poker mini game, like call my bluff mini game, and now it's
You talked about briefly. We talked about 40K, and I think about knights and a parallel between knights and giants in a way.
Does knights have a rule? Does knights have a rule for objective scoring, or?
No, they do not. But the point being is that once they were with their initial set of rules, they became an army, and there were people who had 5 knights in an army, and that was their army. They had a couple little things here sprinkled here and there, but that was a thing for a long time until they modified the rules and changed some basic structure. And people still take a night or two, but it was a thing for a while. And I think my perspective is it's going to be the same thing with the Giants. They're going to do, as you said, Brendan, they're going to do something to make them viable. And people are going to say, this is awesome, cool. And they're going to be a thing for a while. And then it looks like, then they're going to go back to being, maybe you'll take one or two, or maybe you won't take any. It just depends. I think it's going to be that, that kind of curve that's going to go on.
Yeah. Well, no, I see that. I like some of what Chat Gang's talking about here. Giants should just fly, honestly. Like, it won't be fly because they'll be walking over you, the big ones. It won't be fly, but it should just be like Mundo goes where he pleases. Like, I'm huge, I go where I want. I'm the juggernaut, like, whatever it is, they go where they want. I like what Andrew Yell says about destroying terrain and endless spells. I'm either with either or. I think that'd be cool. Destroying terrain would be cool.
But don't we already have something that does that? Don't
we have stuff that co-ops terrain. We have like what are they called? Chaos, where they start turning everything into like weird Evert's black tentacles, basically every terrain.
And don't orcs have something though, or they did have something where it destroys terrain, or you can burn terrain, or something like that? The orcs, didn't they have something like that, Brendan? And
they used to have destroy terrain, but I don't think.
Yeah.
Because it was a waste of time.
It would be a weird thing to destroy terrain. It would probably be more likely that it turns off a terrain feature type thing. Like they destroy. Maybe, I don't know. Endless spells seems a lot more logical because we have rules for dispelling endless spells. They might as well just bonk. That's gone now. That's fine. I'm okay with that. That doesn't. We have endless dispels. We have free dispels. It's okay to like just change the name of that or the cosmetics of it and just have it in the game. I think that's cool. I think what is a likely scenario is that its wounds count as. So Ogre's got just the number, like just raw. Here's numbers. You said that's kind of like the floor, and then it goes up from there. I think its wounds count as is probably where we see it with the mega dudes. Like Gargants will probably just stay Gargants, but the mega dudes will probably be like their wounds equal. Models for capturing is where I feel it going if they don't have the I take the objective now. I'm okay with the I take the objective now because what's going to happen as this army finds its realistic play down the line after the sort of initial the list push and the initial recency bias. Eventually it's going to be like you're going to have the one giant model or maybe two, and I can play around one model. There's so many objectives on the table now. If the giant's over there, I'm just going to go over there. Who cares? Have that objective, fine. We'll go take these ones. Especially with like the knife's edge or blade's edge, where you're just like that objective's gone.
Yeah.
Like,
was I not just talking about that, Brendan? I love that one. That's my favorite.
Yeah, it's a good mission.
It's great.
You gotta spend a little more time thinking than you normally do. You gotta plan out the turns a little bit ahead. It actually provides points of decision making, which is.
I like the I like what Dr. True says here. Giants get objective secured. I like that's the parlance I'm going to use now. Then I don't have to worry about like a weird othering joke. Objective secured. Yeah, I like that. Then I'm stealing that. Thank you, Dr. True. So Giants get objective secured. I think that is that model wounds count as.
Yeah, objective secured. That Brendan, there's a crossover from 40K the other way.
XCOM.
They've had objective secured forever. That's been an issue that they've kind of tweaked over the years.
So if it's a problem in 40K, do we actually see it? So maybe we're.
It's not a problem. I mean, it's not a problem in that they came up with a solution, and they've been consistent and it's realistic how they do it. Certain like troop choices have priority over anybody else over objective security. So you can have 20 elite models, and if you only have 10 troop models on the objective, the troop models still have the objective. that kind of a thing. By unit type, I guess is what it is. So maybe kind of a modification of what you're talking about is maybe they do it by keyword. If this thing is a whatever they're going to call it, if it's a behemoth, then it has objective secured, as it were. But base it on a keyword rather than because they're going to be. We don't know. They're going to be a monster.
They'll have an
Yeah.
allegiance ability that says they do this.
Right. Yeah. Right. So
it won't be as
Yeah.
granular as 40K, and ergo it'll be better because.
Okay.
But
All right.
but yeah, they'll just have a rule that says they do this now, and you'll be like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I can account for that. Again, I can adjust with one model. Played it today. Gordrak removes cover benefit on a charge. Yeah, something like that. Like they or it just says ignores cover bonuses because they basically don't matter that much. Like we're hitting the like the ceiling of our 3-ups and 2-ups, especially with Chamon.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be that would be the worst crossover, I think, for 40K to AOS is if they did what they just did to 40K, which was, I don't know if you heard this, Mephisto.
Oh no, you said 40K words. I don't know.
Well, yeah, but what they did was they limited to you can never have more than +1 or -1 to hit. You can never have +2 to hit or +3 to hit or -3 to hit. So you can never do that. It's limited to +1 and -1. So.
I really dislike that. I hope we don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't either. I don't know.
Well, that moves towards homogeneity, and I'm not a fan of homogeneity as a rule.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Let it be wacky. If you stack all them bonuses, you bought the ticket, take the ride. Go ahead.
Right.
Yeah,
you paid for it. So
Yep,
yeah, absolutely.
Yep, you bought the ticket. You get to ride this roller coaster. Go on, like have fun.
I mean, in Sigmar First Edition, you could make it impossible for units to hit. That was a fun time.
Well, and that's the thing is like the 1 and 6 rule kind of exists to already curtail that. You don't need an additional way to stop it. You got the 1 and the 6 rule. Like you're fine.
I did like making it 7s for people to hit though. That was fun.
Unless I mean, think about it. Like Grot's giving you a -7 to hit. Is Grot's a problem?
I mean, Grot's at 162 damage a swing. Is that a problem?
It's just damage.
Yeah.
It's just damage.
Good time.
I gotta go grab the fixins for Pepsi milk now.
Oh boy!
All right.
So, what should we talk about, Math, while you're gone?
I don't. Let me just double check in with our donations here real quick. I think it's just Meganosh says I gotta make dinner, but I'll be back. And Kyle says plate time, which is the I guess what Pepsi milk is also being called.
Yes.
Plate.
All right, so Dan, what are we going to talk about?
I don't know.
You want to talk about the podcast? Sounds like
Yeah.
you want to talk about the podcast.
Yeah. What do we want to say? Where it came from? What we do?
Sure. Shameless plug time.
So anyway, Cubic Shenanigans started as I'm not going to say this very loud. It started as a 40K podcast. So a gentleman I knew named Theo, we were both members of a group here in Milwaukee called D Company, which was a 40K narrative, non-competitive group of 40K players. And I decided that when I created the podcast, I decided that I wanted it to be something that wasn't going to be about competitive play, which is ironic, isn't it, Brendan? But a non-competitive 40K play, because that's what our group did, and that's how it kind of formed. And you came on, I know it was episode 2, you came on as Dr. Death, and we had a conversation with you. And then Theo had life things he needed to take care of, life obligations. And in episode 8 was the first episode that you were the co-host. And from there, we've gone and grown, and we are primarily a competitive AOS
Podcast.
and we do, when appropriate, like now the 9th edition has come out of the 40K side, we talk about 40K. And, I've had feedback, and I've shared this with Brendan, that, well, we're not going to watch you when you're doing 40K stuff, and that's fine. We're okay with that. We're not going to change what we are, and as Mephisto said at the beginning, we are a Warhammer podcast. And the other thing is that we have a lot of people, especially here in the Milwaukee community, that play both. They either play non-competitive narrative 40K and they play AOS competitively. So we have a lot of those people have an interest in both systems and both sets of gaming. And it just makes it more interesting. And Brendan, as you know, we do a lot of time stamping. So if someone wants to listen to 2 sections of the podcast, they can do that. If they want to listen to the whole thing, that's great. We hope you do. And we're really straightforward and straight up with what we're going to talk about. And we hope that you have an interest no matter what it is. We've gotten Mephisto listening to 40K stuff, which is awesome. I think that's great that he jumps in for it. But that's who we are. Brendan, what else do you think?
I mean that captures it really. It's we have 2 very distinct focuses in terms of how we approach the 2 different games. We started bringing on, Troy and Antonio for the 40K stuff because I can't be bothered.
Right.
I mean, it's weird to think that there's as many people as there are that want to listen to hear what we have to say about this, but whatever.
We love it. We appreciate every one of them. So,
yeah, your guys' time, not mine.
So, and for me personally, Brendan is the one who he didn't drag me. I mean, but there was an interest there, and he really, really encouraged me to get started with something and get started in the competitive side of AOS. And your first Midwest, your first Blue City was the first tournament I ever attended. And I brought this in. It was great. And just the community. And that's what I love about the game is just the people and the socializing and that kind of thing. It's great. And I brought this stupid list. I remember I met Domus for the first time at that tournament, and he just looked at my army, and I think his only word was interesting. It was this ultimate soup destruction list. I had Grots, I had Ogres, I had a Dreadmaw, I had a Rogue Idol, I had some bone splitters on pigs. Man, I just was all over the place. I had no idea. But hey, I won one game anyway. And since then, it's been a great ride.
Your first tournament was Adepticon doubles, where you played me and Tobin.
Yeah, you're right. I played with Danner, and he had his corn, and I had my crazy. I had my spider list. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I had my spider thing list. Yeah, we went 2-1 actually. That was pretty cool. So you're right. That was my first competitive event, and then we went to Bruce City with something different. And then I switched over to Daughters and played them for quite a while, actually.
And now they're in my case.
Yeah, now they're in your case, and I'm playing Night Haunt now. So very cool. But that's who we are, and that's what we do. And I think one of the things, Brendan, you've talked about a little bit is that we want to be educational. We're not just going to be about this is the way to win. This is the cutthroat way to build a list. We're trying to get people, when we go through a battle tome or whatever we talk about, that they're going to learn more about the game and become better players because they're listening to some of the things we talk about, and not just focus on, getting that broken, overpowered thing put together. So you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so
real quick, you talk about getting the broken awesome thing together. What's my recipe, Frank? Milk first. Milk first.
Half and half.
Or was it Pepsi?
The worst half and half I've ever heard of. So what we want you to be able to take away whenever we're talking about an Age of Sigmar battle tome is understanding how the army functions and why you look at the different things you're looking at. Not, here's what the list is, good luck. That conversation is going to be useful for a handful of people. Like on day of release, I want to hear Man Reed's book because I'm going to make the connection to be like, oh, okay, this is what this army does. But we're aimed at the maybe not that top tier of competitive player, but I'm so sorry, Sean. But that middle group or that lower group that want to move into a higher category, and so much of that knowledge is either gained at the table by playing a lot of games, which not everybody has the time to, or by having those connections placed out in front of you. The more of these that you see, the more you can understand what's going on. If your opponent, if you've only got 3 or 4 of you in your local meta, and I'm sorry, this is so disgusting.
It just looks disgusting.
And you are constantly getting your butt kicked by, a Slaves of Darkness player. We want to explain to you why the Slaves of Darkness list works. What the different things in the army working together do. What that player is looking for to be successful. So, and hopefully, we're able to achieve that goal. We've had our listenership increase over the years, so it seems to be that we're doing that. Yeah.
So yeah. So that's who we are, and that's what we do, and that's why we do it. And we hope you'll give us a listen. And we have a lot of people who listen to 3 or 4 of the sections of the show. Some people I met at Meltdown last year were talking about, we listened to Emperor Lies and we listened to the scriptorium, which is the part where we talk about actual reading and listening and stuff. Or they like this or that, which is Brendan and I kind of asking each other stupid questions, those kind of things. So it just depends, and you can pick and choose because, again, we're time stamped, and we would love to have you join us, though, for sure. So, all right, now we need to come back because of the faces you're making and the fact that you're actually drinking that stuff.
I'm so concerned.
Are you going to need, somebody to sit in for you?
What is happening? Explain what is going on here.
Have you ever sat on your leg and then it falls asleep?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then it wakes up? Did you ever think the good idea to wake it up faster was to kick something?
No.
Okay. And then but that happens to your brain. I've seen some shit now. Seen it. I've lived it in those few brief seconds.
Oh, God.
I am different. I am biologically different.
Is this truly a life experience now? Could you qualify this as a life experience?
Not one I can recommend. But I am different. I have been reforged by the Pepsi milk.
Mm. Wow.
It's so weird. I don't know. What is this? What are you?
Well, while
what are you?
Dan, would you like to tell us about your Warhammer origin stories while Meth works on this drink? How'd you get in the hobby?
I actually started with 40K. I started with a Space Hulk box, one of the original, with the purple Terminators and the purple Gene Stealers. And what really got me interested, of course, no surprise to most people who know me, is the book that came with it that had all this lore in it. It actually had the origin story of the Deathwing, which was fascinating because it was based on Native American lore, because they used Native American symbols, and just the entire way the conversation went among the culture of these Deathwing guys was American Indian and Native American, which
thank you.
It isn't there anymore, but that's what it was.
Real quick,
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for pointing out the meme to me, Frank. I'm so happy this happened now. I can feel. Like I said, it's like
God.
sitting on your limb until it falls asleep, and then like hitting a wall, just on purpose to try to wake it up, except to your brain. And I've seen some shit. I am enlightened. It would have been way worse with whole milk. Way worse.
That's funny.
It like foamed and shit. Like I poured it, and then it just like it foamed up, and so it had like a head, like a beer.
Chemistry. It's chemistry, man.
Yeah, there's chemistry between Pepsi and milk. I don't even like Pepsi. You know what, though? I hate Pepsi. I like this better than Pepsi.
You know what? You're going to have to try this. I was just explaining to my wife, Cindy, about adding water to acid or acid to water. One of the basic things. You never, ever add water to acid. You just don't. Because you get an exothermic reaction. You know, it heats up and stuff. I wonder what would happen instead of did you put the Pepsi in the milk or the milk in the Pepsi?
You poured the Pepsi into the milk.
It would be interesting to see what would happen if you poured the milk into the Pepsi.
Yeah.
And see if it was different. You should try that.
Yeah.
You should, yeah.
Maybe next year. We'll see.
So I played Space Hulk a tiny bit, but what it did was it kicked off my interest in reading the books. So I started reading 40K a lot. And then in 2001, so that was maybe 5 or 6 years difference, I started playing 40K in 2001. And I've been playing ever since. And 3 years ago now, I started playing Sigmar. So that's kind of my origin story, though. That's where I started, and that's why I'm still into the lore like I am. So, yeah.
It's like, it's worse after.
This is great.
It's like
this ongoing narrative. This is going to be an ongoing narrative now for the rest of the evening and probably into tomorrow.
It's inside me. It's like an alien, like in that movie about aliens called Alien.
I'm just kind of stunned here. Like, I don't.
Nice origin story, though. I didn't hear a word of it. Something about Space Hulk.
Yeah. All good, man.
Sorry, I was so busy tripping the rift there. Like I can
tell.
Drifting on the ether.
I knew time needed to be filled. Oh God, you followed up with beer. What is wrong with you?
Mother's milk to defeat the Enlightenment milk.
Oh no, that's not going to work.
Okay, here I got water.
Oh boy.
That would be good. That would work.
Yeah, did we see the viewer count go up and then just immediately down 20? Fucking drank Pepsi milk on stream.
Oh yikes.
Do the McBoils from I don't know.
Love the McBoils.
I'm pretty sure this is how you make Zangor enlightened.
Oh, I can't wait to check those pictures out in a hot minute. That's...
Nothing can defeat enlightenment. Yeah, watch this. Like I go on next first tournament I go to, I just win, like just outright. Like it's like when Neo realizes he can control the Matrix at the end, and he's just like bored, like defeating Agent Smith, and I'm just sitting there like doing that, but moving models and just chugging one thing of Pepsi milk in my other hand, just like.
I believe guillotines defeated the Enlightenment. History jokes.
Stay hydrated. Here we go. Cheers. All right. Just Gut, which might be the new name for what's going on inside my body. Getting caught up. I will not punish the cause because PayPal sucks. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Not old enough, Nick. 2024. Not going to be old enough.
2024? Guillotines? It will give you strength.
My political platform.
Yeah.
So we got like 25 minutes, 23 minutes. What do you want to do, Meth? Crunch time. What are we doing? Drive. Donations. Drive. Donations.
Yeah. I like that. So tell me about your background as a gymnast.
Oh.
Mm.
Yeah, so...
Take your pick between gymnastics and a mental health story.
I won't cry during the gymnastics one, so we'll do that.
All right.
So, because that's not going to be a great look. So gymnastics I started freshman year of high school. So you're 15 years. That's 15 years old. Is a spring sport, and my Boy Scout troop, just for whatever reason, happened to primarily feed into the gymnastics program. Just for whatever reason. So that was a group of people that I was particularly familiar with. My dad had a rule with us where we had to, our freshman year, either do something after school in terms of like a club or a sport all year round. So in the fall it was soccer. I've been playing soccer since I was 4 years old. In the winter I picked up wrestling, and then so in the spring my choices were pretty limited because you had baseball, I'm not good at, track and field, and I have made every decision in my life around how little I can run, or volleyball. And for those of you who don't know, I'm 5'8", and while that was totally fine in like middle school, real bad path forward in high school, because that was where I was going to cap out. So I picked up gymnastics, and I fell in love with it. I wasn't very good my freshman year, but it was something where, for the most part, in men's gymnastics, you start very young, and the longer you've been doing it, the better you are. But the men, unlike the women, take off dramatically after puberty, where the reverse happens with women's gymnastics, because it's more valuable to be smaller. But for men, it's more valuable to be strong. Now, it helps to be short, but it's really valuable to be
swole,
strong, because so many of these skills are strength-based elements. And there are just things that if you're a super wiry kid, you're never going to be able to do. Never is the wrong word. It becomes progressively more difficult to do those things. So I was not very good my freshman year, but after that freshman year, I was like, this is a program that if you put your time in, by your senior year, you will be really good. You will be competing at the state meet. You will be. You're probably not going to be the guy that wins it, just because all those extra years are particularly helpful. But we had a gym of a lot of creative guys who would help you build your routines based on what it is that you were physically best built for, and because not every skill is for everybody at that level. Now, when you get to the Olympic level, basically everybody's routines look the same, but that's because they're trying to pack the most amount of difficulty into the space that they're allotted. So, but in high school, you have a very limited amount of time. You have a very limited skill set, especially if you started in high school, and so you got to get creative. And so I put a lot of time in between my freshman and sophomore year. So my freshman year, I did pommel horse, parallel bars, still rings, and high bar. So basically everything but the tumbling. I'm a real bad tumbler. I was a diver, and I was awful. I don't know why my coach kept me.
Diver sounds like a slang for, or do you mean literally a
like a swimming and diving? I was a diver. Yeah. My coach once threw a diving brick at me and said he knew 2x4 was more flexible, and he was right. I was kept on that team for my leadership skills, not for my diving skills. I never contributed I only contributed to the moral standing of the team. We did it, right? Cheerleader. So my sophomore year is where I really kind of found my own, and my group didn't have a lot of kids. The age group above us was super talented, and so the junior varsity was basically just us and a bunch of bums, and so I picked up vault, and I was winning awards left and right at the JV level. I was competing at varsity a little bit here and there, but I was doing 5 of the 6 events. But if you do all 6 events, you become eligible for another award all around. So I said, what the hell is this? I just got to pick up floor. So I challenged for the 5th spot on floor for JV conference. With 30 minutes of practice, I beat the guy who had the last roster spot. He was pissed. Oh my God. He was so unbelievably mad. And then I took like 3rd or something at the JV all around, and encouraged by the time I had spent with varsity, encouraged by the results I had that second year, I moved up to varsity and did pommel horse and parallel bars my junior year. And I myself didn't find a lot of victory except for anything but pommel horse, which is super weird because I'm really not good at that event. But other people aren't either, I guess. But our team was so good that year. Oh my goodness. It was so hard cracking that roster. And we were that close to making state as a team, Neff. We were that close. And so here I am after this junior year.
So you're held back by exactly you.
No. What happened was at sectionals, one of our key contributors dislocated both of his knees in warm-ups. And I'll give him all the credit in the world. He still tried to compete on 2 dislocated knees.
Brutal.
I don't know how you try and vault on 2 dislocated knees, but he did. If he had been healthy, I guarantee we would have qualified. Yeah, both knees. I saw him bend backwards like a stork.
They already watched me drink Pepsi milk. Spare them the gory details.
I can describe some of the most heinous injuries you will have ever heard of through the sport of gymnastics. So going into my senior year, buoyed by this crazy good team that we had, I was like, this is my team. We're gonna do some damage. And we as a team were just awful. And this is one of my this is where stems one of my great personal shames, is that an organization that I've been the head of, they have never had success as a group. I was a very successful individual, but I could not bring the team along with me. And I found that to be particularly upsetting, and it's a theme that has followed me throughout.
I don't know. The team event, actually, Sean was at it, the Detroit Warhammer Club, where Kyle got his best destruction. That was a team effort, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there was success there.
Yeah, but we didn't podium. We didn't do all these other things. I hold myself to this really unrealistic standard, and I tell my boss sometimes, it's good that we're not measuring the people around me on what my expectations are, but rather that we measure on expectations, not what I want.
Yeah, I like. Well, finish your point, and I've got a question here from Chat Gang.
Yeah, but so my senior year in high school, I was super proud of. I competed at the state meets. I was second in voting for Senior Gymnast of the Year. I won all sorts of different awards. I was really proud of that season. I put everything out there, and I if people go look back, my state showing was very poor. The reason for that was I understood that if I did what I normally did, I had no chance of making finals. I knew if I took the risk and if I hit it, I would make the finals. I didn't, so I didn't.
But you played to your out. This is playing to your outs.
Exactly, right? But I knew if I did the thing that I was really good at, I was never going to make it into the finals anyways.
No, I mean it's cool because for me there's a lot of parallels between AOS and a lot of other stuff, because I think you got there's so much in Age of Sigmar. I like to say it's the place where all the voices in my head come to play. You know, like it's got my competitive spirit is here. My my as a writer, as a gamer, a lot of the things that make me as a personality, as someone who who wrestled and likes to have a persona, and all the voices come out to play when I'm playing Age of Sigmar. Let's see if you can stretch a nice little parallel here. Which AOS army is most like a pommel horse?
So, so the thing that makes pommel horse so difficult in the sport of gymnastics is where all of your work is rotated about the same axis for the most part. Pommel horse is the different axis. You have to think in a different way with your body.
It's piece of cake.
Well, but it's a different mechanic. Where Beast of Chaos is you're playing Warhammer, you're just playing with you're still doing the flips, right? You're still doing it a little bit differently. Pommel horse is you are playing it is gymnastics, but it is a different game. The people who are good at pommel horse sometimes don't find success in any other part of the sport, and some people who are great at the other 5 events simply cannot do that event.
Is that because of the way their brains work, or they're thinking in a different way than everybody else? Or
they're built differently. Hand timing is super important on pommel horse. That's not a skill that you practice on any other events regularly.
Pommel horse is the one where you're like on it and you're flipping your legs underneath you, right?
Yeah, and you're doing this, and then you go woo, 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 and then you dismount.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, so Army, I like that you qualified it. Like, what makes Pommel Horse different from the other events? So, like, you've qualified it. We're already doing a proper thought experiment. So you have what? So now we need to find the army that basically doesn't play Age of Sigmar, right? Like, it's doing something completely different.
Eels.
Think so.
Eels. Eels don't play Warhammer.
Okay. So you've qualified it. Now defend the case for why eels then don't play Warhammer.
So eels don't care about the movement phase. They are 14 plus inch movements. They don't. Fly. Yeah, they don't care about the shooting phase. They don't even care about the hero phase in many cases. The combat is negated by an ability that you can use to clear out screens and other stuff. And then your whole goal is in the one turn where everything gets to go first. That's where you try and win the game.
Okay. No, I like this. I like no. This is how you thought experiment, bro. Like, I would accept that. Chat gang, do we accept that? Y'all posed the question.
Yeah. Well, while they're working, I'll finish up my story.
Yep.
I went to college. I didn't get any scholarships to do gymnastics, which was fine by me. I was out to get my degree. The school I went to, Purdue University, we had a club team, and we competed within the Big Ten. Most of the Big Ten has Division I teams, so the teams we competed against were very good. And it was really helpful in college. College was a very difficult time for me. And this was the outlet of consistency that I had available to me to kind of anchor myself. One of the crazy proud moments in this is I invented my own skill that I got to compete at an event that no one else in the world had competed at. I did everything I could. I did everything I could to try to get to an international competition. I never qualified, but damn it, I tried. There's a video of me, partway through it on my Facebook, back from like 2012, I think. And the crazy thing is my body told me it was time to retire. I didn't have a choice in it, and I've had a really hard time watching anything related to it ever since.
Watching gymnastics.
Yeah.
And so this is a big part. This is a big part of your life, and it brought you joy to compete and to have the camaraderie and stuff like that. And so now this is just something that you have to partition off.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that there's a chip on your shoulder you carry from gymnastics into Age of Sigmar?
I need something competitive. I picked up rugby for a little bit. What a huge mistake that was. I really enjoyed it. But in the 2 seasons I had played, I separated my left shoulder and broke 3 fingers, and I was just the wrong size, the wrong kind of in shape for it. It was fun. I really love watching it now. That's a sport that I have a lot of respect and passion for as a fan. I think rugby sevens is the perfect sport for American television. There's a game ends every 20 minutes. The tournament lasts all weekend. It is amazing.
It's like condensing. It's like condensing the NCAA basketball into like one weekend essentially.
Yeah, it's great. It's a fantastic sport. I recommend you check it out. I played blindside flank. Way too small. I'm a mean little thing. Way too small. But I needed something competitive, and this is what Age of Sigmar has allowed me to do. It's it's something that keeps me sharp. It keeps me grinding towards something. As much as people joke that when it all cost players are jerks and horrible and these Detroit guys are are ruining it. I love having a group that I can be competitive with. I had a really hard time my senior year being top dog in the gym. I had a really hard time with that. I like knowing that there's stuff to work around and play against, and I respect all the other competitive players hugely. It's fun. I hope that I come across the tables from dudes like Brad and Sean and Jake, because I know that those are going to be good games. Those are the games I want to play. I'm really not super interested in playing mid-table hero who's got something wonky and creative, because I know the game's over at setup. That's not fun for me. I'm sure the game's not fun for him either. But it's really
no, it wasn't, Brendan. I can tell you, it wasn't at all.
Why is there still a goatee? Because my electric shaver is packed up. So logistically speaking, shaving live on camera is really hard. I'll talk to Molly again about it. The verdict is in, and chat gang seems to be unanimous. They accept your response. I think Lexa, who posed the question here, says conclusively eels and pommel horses are the same. So the logic, this is impeccable logic, and then William follows it up with seahorses. Got it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Right. That's great.
Yeah, so that was a big part of my life for about 10 years.
Well, I mean, welcome to the new chapter, right? There's something to be said for like the athlete whose body quits before they quit, right? Like you usually end up chasing, like you're not done with it, like. Yeah, I don't know. There's just I think about all the baseball players who have every bit of the compassion, but they're on their 4th Tommy John, and it's just like probably done.
My ex's brother-in-law was he was a former professional baseball player. He had some time up in the minors, and he had just got to the point where
real quick 5-minute warning, and you can finish up your point. 5-minute warning.
Story.
Yeah. Make your donations. This is the last 5 minutes to get them in if you're interested in getting that Midwest Meltdown guaranteed spot, and along with the model that Andrew Yells has made. It's fantastic. The Akuma Dwarf. He's a world-class painter. So the last time for that. Yeah, your story now.
Yeah, so he had just got to the point where they had a family. It was becoming pretty clear that he wasn't going to be spending time in the pros. So he had some injuries, and he had basically been forced to retire. And I was meeting him in the couple of years just post baseball, and he was having all sorts of issues with his family and alcohol and things like that. And it was being confronted with all the problems were occurring, but him and I always got along great. And I realized at one point it's because him and I were kindred spirits in that we were both. Now, don't get me wrong, he made money in his sport, but it was something that we both loved that was taken from us sooner than we would have liked and not without our full consent. And I had actually ended up convincing him to go to therapy about it. And he realized how much not baseball was affecting him. So, Davis MMA 1 through 5, your MMA guy, what a great show that was. Man, I can't tell you how important that come down is. Where you need to be able to, where you need to be able to kind of move into that next thing. It is so hard to do stuff like that. And Dan, I'm sure you had some of it moving to civilian life.
Sure.
Out of the Navy. Obviously, I wasn't getting shot with what I was doing, but
Yeah.
So,
Dan, we got a few minutes. Anything you want to add or anything you want to throw in there?
No, I don't think so. Not enough time for any sea stories. So, I got 1,000 of them. But no, I just appreciate you including me and including Brendan.
Oh no, we lost Dan mid
I thought it was everybody, and we lost just Dan. I'm like, oh no, not again, not re-rolling ones again.
No, it appears to be just Dan.
There you go, he's back.
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah.
Just me?
Yeah, it was just you.
Oh yeah, just appreciate so much. You make me part of something like this. It's awesome. It's freaking awesome. So thank you and best wishes with it. Right. I still want to see a tattoo, man. Come on, dude.
Yeah, I'll get right here. Look at this pristine paste.
I'll leave it with you, and I'll hand you a handful of Tylenol, just like I did with both times I went. So.
Okay. All right.
It works.
Doesn't it thin your blood though, or is that aspirin?
No, that's not. No.
Okay.
It won't. It's aspirin, not Tylenol. Yeah.
All right.
So.
Right. Get Dan a Vampire Coast army. Dang it! All right, so we got the last couple minutes.
I'll work on that.
Yeah, there we go. Let's see, heavy D6. Next year you have to get paid while drinking. Oh, I think pied. Oh, I have to get pied while drinking Pepsi milk.
Oh, okay.
Oof. I don't know about that.
Big yikes here.
Big yikes. Did you see how much Brendan suffered just watching?
Double whammy.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, funny.
Yeah, and it's a Pepsi milk pie. There you go. Just add the layers on top of it. So
full circle.
Yeah,
awesome.
There we go. Yeah, so coming up next, we've got actually the Basement of Death, I believe.
Playing and Slaying crew.
Playing and Slaying crew coming in. So
reading the room.
Yeah, we're gonna read the room. And I don't mean like see if our jokes are are in proper taste. I mean the script from the room. I don't know that we'll do the whole thing. Because...
I want to see you ask Troy a 40K question, by the way.
Oh God! All right.
I want to see that.
All right.
I want to see what happens when you do that to him, and the reaction from the rest of them.
And everyone's eyes going.
They'll probably just boo him to stop, though. Like, this.
They'll stop him for you. Don't worry.
All right. So it is 8:00. Donations are locked.
Take care, everybody. Thank you again.
Bye, guys.
Take care.
Yeah. Take care, guys. Thanks for hanging out. And